Alrighty, the hearing will come to order. Welcome to Senator Price, Senator Liu, Senator Alquist, and Senator Runner. We will take up, Senator Carol Liu is at the podium to take up SB 21, long-term care. And you may begin whenever you're ready, Senator.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, members. And I am waiving presentation on SB 43, SB 112, and SB 123.
Yes, we took up SB 43 and 123 already with your waive presentation, so we'll just deal with 21 now.
Thank you very much. California currently spends more than $11 billion on long-term care. About half is expended in institutions such as skilled nursing facilities, and about half is expended for home and community services. California's increasing number of seniors, our increasing number of persons who have significant disabilities, and the desire for most of us to live at home for as long as we can all means that we should look carefully at how we spend the $11 billion of state and federal dollars. SB 21 follows the lead of San Diego County and states such as Washington, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Texas to save money by helping people move out of skilled nursing facilities to their own home if that's where they want to be. Just last week, the Little Hoover Commission released a report recommending that California provide this help to patients in skilled nursing facilities. And I have provided the committee with staff with a cost-benefit analysis that relies on data from California and from other states. Currently, Pennsylvania reports that each social worker in its program is able to transition 16 people home each year at a savings of about $450,000 per year. This savings is 2.5 times the combined cost of the social worker and the community services the individual will need in order to return home. SB 21 also agrees with the Little Hoover Commission that there are savings in consolidating assessments. This bill directs the Department of Health Care Services to convene a stakeholder group to discuss the value and the potential for savings of consolidated long-term care assessments. The bill's third major provision is to establish better data systems so that we need to be more like the state of Washington when it comes to identifying eligibility, needs, trends, and efficiencies in our long-term care system. I ask for your support on this important measure because I believe that it would pay for itself in savings in less than a year.
Thank you, Senator Liu. We'll go to your witnesses.
Nicole Wertelman on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco. SB 21 will help those in need of long-term care and improve the environment for San Francisco's rapidly growing elderly population.
Thank you. Next, please.
Barbara Glazer with the California Hospital Association. We support the development of care and care management systems that will enhance and maximize an individual's ability to return home whenever possible. We urge your support of the bill.
Thank you very much. Other witnesses in favor? Are there opposition witnesses to SB 21? Opposition? Seeing none. Finance, do you have a comment?
I don't have a file on this measure.
All righty. Senator Liu, this a very significant, important bill with likely some important fiscal impact. So we're sending it to suspense, but we'll work with you in the meantime.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, members.
Senator Yee, I saw you come in. Senator Yee has two items, SB 114 and SB 216.
Can I take 216 first?
You certainly can. We're at your pleasure.
I know it's going to go to suspense, Madam Chair, but I want to just kind of briefly mention that this bill comes because of the San Bruno gas explosion, and all this bill really tries to do is to just simply say that there ought to be automatic or remotely controlled valves in these pipelines, particularly in congested area. With that, I understand it's going to go to suspense, and we'll work with you then.
Yes, there are some costs there. We'll go to your witnesses, though. Welcome.
Madam Chair, members, Barry Brokaw on behalf of the California chapters of the American Red Cross. We just opened a new San Bruno Resource and Recovery Center last month to deal with the still over 300 families that are dealing with the tragic loss that occurred. We think this bill would go far to prevent those types of devastating losses and keep the numbers smaller, so we support the measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other witnesses in favor? Witnesses in favor of Senator Yee's SB 216? Is there opposition to SB 216? Any opposition? Finance, do you have a comment?
The Public Utilities Commission estimates that it would require $216,000 from the PUC utility reimbursement account in 2 positions to implement this measure.
All right. Members, are there any comments here? This important issue, Mr. Yee, but we want a chance to get a good fix on the expenses, so it's headed to suspense.
Not a problem.
Do you want to take up SB 114?
Sure. Very quickly again, this bill really tries to provide some equity to part-time faculty members in community colleges. All of that this bill will do is to ask that the community college district develop a core salary schedule for all faculty based on education and expense, and that the part-time faculty salary schedule is comparable to their full-time colleagues. And with that, I urge your favorable consideration as it moves along suspense.
Thank you, Senator Yee. Witnesses, please.
Madam Chair, Tony Chicaro on behalf of the California Teachers Association and our community college faculty. I just want to point out 2 issues that the bill addresses. One is that both full-time and part-time faculty meet identical minimum qualifications for teaching, but many community college districts do not give part-time faculty the same salary placement credit for education or their experiences, and that many teaching, when they're teaching different disciplines that requires a different number of hours of work, some districts do not credit them for a 5-credit unit course versus a 3-unit course. So we would like this to be a little bit more equitable. And a reminder to the committee that these are public funds that the districts are spending that marginalize what amounts to public employees, and we look forward to working with the committee staff to address the calculations and their analysis regarding the salary schedule and CalSTRS, which we don't agree is the same amount of money that has been identified. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. Next, please.
Yes, Judith Michaels, California Federation of Teachers. And this bill really just asks that the districts use similar steps and columns to compensate their part-time faculty, a system that's called the Uniform Salary Schedule in K-12 and is in common use for full-time community college faculty. The scale has become known in some districts as a mirrored salary schedule, which we don't really reference in the bill, but maybe we should. And it does not require that part-time faculty be paid the same amount or that comparability. So what we're trying to do in the bill is allow districts to display what they are paying their part-time faculty and more easily calculate the percentage of salary disparity, if any. We understand there would be minor one-time costs associated with rating in or placing part-time faculty, and we intend to work with staff while the bill is on suspense to address the cost issues, also the STRS issues.
Thank you. Very good. Is there additional testimony in favor? In favor. Any opposition? Finance, do you have a comment?
The California Community College Chancellor's Office estimates that it would cost $154 million to $173 million in Proposition 98 general funds to bring part-time faculty compensation in line with full-time faculty. If the bill is interpreted to create more parity with full-time faculty, which would include non-classroom activities such as preparing lessons and grading assignments, the estimate could reach $200 million. The bill could also create a reimbursable mandate that could cost hundreds of thousands and potentially millions of dollars to 98 General Fund, requiring the CCCDs to perform specified reporting activities and developing salary schedules. Given the current budget crisis, the Department of Finance must oppose this measure.
All righty. Members' comments? This is the Department of Finance and the committee analysis have pretty similar numbers, so we believe there's significant costs here. Much as I'd like to be able to go home and tell my partner, a part-time community college instructor, that this is going to pass, I think we have to put it in suspense and work a little bit harder on the numbers. Thank you, Senator Yee. Do you have any comment?
Yeah, just to I think comment. I think on the number figures.
Sure.
Or the dollar figures. You know, we will continue to work with your staff and the Department of Finance on that. We don't believe that it has that kind of a dollar figure. That was never the intent of this particular bill.
Okay.
And I know that this is the Finance or Appropriation Committee, but let me just say that, we've got to figure out exactly how we're going to deal with this part-time issue, because if we don't, then there's going to be a greater dependence on part-time faculty, and clearly that's not in the best interest of the students of the community college system.
Thank you, Senator Yee. All good points. Appreciate that. The item moves to suspense.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
All righty. So we'll go to Senator Alquist's item, SB 613, and if no other senators come in from outside the committee, and I think we're getting down towards the end, we'll go back to Senator Ted Lieu for one item, right, Senator Lieu? All righty. Senator Alquist, instructional materials.
Thank you.
And this is also a candidate for suspense.
Yes, it is. Today in the classroom, most students continue to use traditional printed textbooks. They can be very expensive and they can be very old. Currently, in the Berryessa Unified School District and one of my districts in San Jose, students are using English textbooks that are 7 years old. There's got to be a better way, Madam Chair and members, to provide instructional materials to our students. The goal of SB 613 is to provide school districts with flexibility to use free digital learning materials, which are known as open source materials. SB 613 would require the State Board of Education in its next scheduled review to approve open source materials for half of the Common Core aligned curriculum. These materials would need to meet the same requirements as printed materials. I noticed in the analysis that the bill's been tagged with the $29 million cost. I look forward to working with the chair and the committee to reduce the costs, and that would be that.
Thank you, Senator Alquist. This is a candidate for suspense. Is there testimony in favor of SB 613? In favor. Seeing none, is there opposition? And no opposition. Finance, do you have a comment on this one? All righty, members, any comment on SB 613? Seeing none, Senator Alquist, that item will move to suspense.
Thank you.
And we'll go to Senator Ted Lieu's item, which is SB 336 on emergency room crowding. This is on emergency room crowding. Senator Lieu, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Senators. And also, I'm waiving presentation on 698.
Thank you. Yes.
This bill, SB 336, is the same bill that actually passed the legislature, got to the governor's desk 2 years ago, but he had vetoed it. I'm reintroducing it, and it requires hospitals with the emergency department to record an emergency department overcrowding score every 4 hours to assess the crowding conditions of its emergency department. This has worked in the state of New York. It has worked at some county hospitals here in California, and it has reduced emergency room overcrowding. With me here is Tim Madden, representing the American College of Emergency Room Physicians, and request your aye vote.
Madam Chair, members, Tim Madden, representing the California chapter of American College of Emergency Physicians. There are numerous studies that have shown that as wait times increase in emergency departments, that the patient actually ends up staying in the hospital for a longer amount of time. We believe SB 336 represents an excellent opportunity to put in place a procedure where hospitals assess their overcrowding and develop a plan to address those levels of overcrowding, which will result in shorter hospitalization times, which will decrease costs to the state over time. It's also noted in the analysis that this bill has been in front of the committee in the past and has not gone to suspense and has been voted out. We respectfully request an aye vote.
Thank you. All right. You're right. Your pardon. Thank you for your comments, and I did take note of the fact that we've moved it before. That was my oversight. So we can, if the committee wishes, and I think we do, we will move this to the floor. Do you need a motion on that? Thank you, Senator Runner. We'll hear from Finance. Do you have a comment on this one? Okay, so did we take opposition testimony? Seeing no opposition, we have a motion by Senator Runner. And if there's no further comment, the Secretary will call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Alquist? Emerson? Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Pavley? Price? Runner?
Aye.
Runner, aye. Steinberg?
All right, that's 3-0, Senator Liu, and we're keeping all the rolls open today till the members can convene, okay? Thank you. So that, those are as long as we're here at Senator Liu's items, let's go to SB 698. That is, Senator Liu has waived presentation on that item. Is there testimony in favor of SB 698 about workforce development? Is there opposition to SB 698 on workforce development by Senator Liu? Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
The Employment Development Department indicates that the state's discretionary funds are likely to be significantly reduced based on the recently adopted federal budget. While still largely unknown, some interpretations of the federal budget indicate that the discretionary funds could decrease from 15% to only 5% of the total WIA funds allocated to California. The Department of Finance is opposed to this measure because it is unnecessary as the Labor Workforce Investment Board is evaluated every 2 years to ensure compliance with the federal requirements, and this measure would duplicate existing planning and evaluation efforts.
With that in mind, members, unless there's further discussion, the item goes to suspense. Thank you. That is Senator Liu's 698. We don't have any more authors present at the moment. We have a number of presentations that have been waived. Yes? Yes. We'll go back to the top of the file for items that presentation has been waived. Senator Semidian, to the members of the public, so we're back at the top of the file. The authors will not present in these cases. If you want to speak to the bill, come up when I call them. SB 37 by Senator Semidian has to do with natural gas energy. Is there testimony in favor of SB 37? Is there opposition testimony to SB 37? I'll go to Finance. Comment on SB 37?
The California Energy Commission estimates a cost of $750,000 from the Energy Facility Licensing and Compliance Fund or the Energy Resources Program account annually beginning in the first year which the economic conditions necessary to incentivize construction occur. This cost includes 3 positions, and the Department of Finance is neutral on this measure.
Okay. Any comments, members? Seeing none, the item moves to suspense. Next waive presentation item is Senator DeSaulniers' SB 201 by Senator DeSaulniers. Excuse me. This is having to do with flexible purpose corporations. Flexible purpose corporations by DeSaulniers. Is there testimony in favor? Is there any opposition testimony? Finance, do you have a comment?
The Department of Finance estimates that this bill could result in state general fund revenue losses as more businesses shift away from profit making as their primary goal. While the revenue losses are unquantifiable, they could be significant.
Any comments, members? Seeing none, the item goes to suspense. Next, we have 3 items by Senator Wright. The first is SB 268. This has to do with school attendance between districts. Is there testimony in favor? Are you coming up for this bill? No. Okay. Is there any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment?
The Department of Finance opposes this bill because it could create a reimbursable state mandate with Proposition 98 general fund costs in the low millions of dollars for the County Board of Education to conduct an appeal hearing based on the higher level of required review.
Any comments, members? The item goes to suspense. Senator Wright, second item is SB 320, having to do with hearings for social services. public hearings for social services. Testimony in favor? Opposition? Finance?
I don't have a file on this measure.
All righty, members, any comments? The item goes to suspense. That's SB 320. Next is SB 610, having to do with concealed weapons, concealed firearms. Is there testimony in favor? Is there opposition? Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
The Department of Finance is concerned that the bill could create a reimbursable state-mandated local program that would result in general fund costs not included in the administration's current fiscal plan.
Any comments, members? All right, it goes to suspense. Thank you. And Senator Rubio has SB 317. That has to do with the Kings River Fisheries Management. Kings River Fisheries. Is there testimony in favor? Opposition? Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
317? Yes, Madam Chair. The Annual Budget Act provides for $100,000 general fund for the purposes of the Kings River program. However, we note that the Department of Fish and Game participation in the program is not mandatory. Therefore, the Department of Fish and Game may cease participation if funding is not available.
All righty, that item goes to suspense by Senator Rubio. We have 4 items from Senator Hernandez. The first is SB 359. Has to do with ambulance rates covered by Medi-Cal. Is there testimony in favor? Mr. McKaylee.
Yes, Madam Chair. Briefly,
Welcome.
Chris McKaylee on behalf of the California Ambulance Association, which is the sponsor of the measure. There are some costs identified in your analysis. Clearly, there are potential pressures if the department does what is already required by law to do, which is what this bill actually does. The state plan today requires the department to do this rate study in setting rates. Unfortunately, the department has yet to do that which is required by its own state plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional testimony in favor of SB 359. Is there opposition to SB 359 by Senator Hernandez? Seeing none, Ms. Ingenito, you got to...
The bill may result in significant general fund costs. I don't have an estimate.
Significant.
Significant.
All righty. Then it'll go to suspense. Let's see. Next is SB 408, Health Facilities Licensure by Senator Hernandez. Is there testimony in favor of SB 408? Is there opposition to SB 408? Finance, do you have a comment?
I don't have a
members, that item will go to suspense then. Senator Hernandez also has SB 728 on health care coverage. SB 728, is there testimony in favor? Public testimony in favor or opposed? Seeing none, Finance, do you have a comment on this?
No, fine.
All righty, that item goes to suspense. Thank you. And next is the last one by Hernandez, is SB 866 on prescription drugs. Is there testimony in favor? Opposition? Finance, do you have a comment?
We had the costs to the Department of Managed Healthcare and the Department of Insurance to develop the required form would be absorbed.
All righty. That item goes to suspense, and that concludes Senator Hernandez's items for today. Senator DeSaulnier, welcome. We can take you right now if you like. We're looking for customers.
Remind me of my dentist.
We've already dispensed with SB 201. You had waived presentation on that, correct? Mm-hmm. So we're ready for SB 536 whenever you are.
That's correct.
Property tax for public utilities.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your help with this bill. You may remember this from last year. We got this to the desk, and unfortunately the time clock ran out. We had bipartisan support. In a nutshell, this bill allows the city of Oakley, which is the newest city in the Bay Area, to site a power plant in the city of Oakley and do it in such a way that there's a benefit for the community. We've worked through the issues with the housing advocates, and they are now supportive of the bill, and we would ask for your continued support. With me today is the mayor of the city of Oakley, Mayor Jim Frazier.
Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman.
We've heard a lot about your power plant.
and we're looking forward to it.
That's code for we don't want to hear much more.
And understood. I just wanted to thank you for your consideration today, and also to thank the senator for carrying this for us.
Appreciate your kind words. Gentlemen, anything to add? All righty. Is there any other testimony in favor of SB 536? Is there opposition to SB 536? Finance, do you have a comment?
The provisions and protections afforded property tax allocations by Proposition 1A from 2004 did not extend to RDAs. The property tax shift from special districts to an RDA arising from this bill could violate Article 13, Section 25.5 of the California Constitution. While it allows the legislature to shift property taxes between cities, counties, and special districts by a two-thirds vote, the section does not authorize the shifting of property tax revenues from these entities to RDAs. And furthermore, we note that this bill conflicts with the administration's redevelopment reform proposal contained in AB 101, and the Department of Finance is opposed.
Thank you for your comments. Nevertheless, as Senator DeSaulnier pointed out, the legislature has looked at this once before and passed it. We've seen it again in local government. I think there's adequate explanation for what needs to happen there at the local level. So I would appreciate a motion to move the bill.
Move the bill.
Thank you very much, Senator Runner. If there's any more discussion, seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Alquist? Emerson? Lou? Aye. Lou, aye. Pavley? Price? Runner?
Aye.
Runner, aye. Steinberg?
The vote is 3-0. You can see members are in 2 and 3 other committees. So we're keeping the roll open on each item, and we'll close at the when we get finished with the whole file. Senator DeSaulnier, you have
567.
567 recycled plastic products. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate you taking the time to come over.
Madam Chairwoman, this is another bill that's a recycling bill, pardon the express use. But the bill basically requires that you cannot say that something is biodegradable until there's a national standard or the department comes up with something acceptable. There are minor costs, as indicated in your analysis, to the integrated waste management account. This bill ended up on the governor's desk last year, and he vetoed it. So we're trying to do it one more time. Again, minor costs. I would ask.
So near and yet so far, Senator DeSaulnier.
Apparently,
Jeez,
he had something that I displeased him with. So
we'll take your witnesses then, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Committee members, my name is Sue Vang with the environmental group Californians Against Waste. We're urging your support of SB 567, which would expand existing law on end-of-life claims for plastic bags and food packaging to all plastic products. This bill, as Senator DeSaulnier has said, is similar to last year's SB 1454, which passed out of this committee and was vetoed by the governor. It was good policy then, and it's good policy now. Biodegradable claims mislead consumers into believing that a product will gradually and harmlessly break down in a natural environment, thus reducing the barriers to littering. Plastic products end up littering the environment and harming our water and soil quality, our wildlife, and our pocketbooks. And the cleanup of litter in California costs the agencies $375 million each year. So by prohibiting false advertising of plastic products' end-of-life cycle, SB 567 will give consumers the peace of mind that they are making the informed and correct choice when purchasing a product and create a fair marketplace for companies that are already making truthful claims. Products such as these are already exploding in the marketplace, so we feel that there should be no delay in this bill, and we urge your aye vote.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Casey Kaneko of Suter and Associates on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco, which has the first residential recycling or composting program in the state of California, also in strong support of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other testimony in favor of SB 567? In favor? Is there opposition to SB 567? Finance, do you have a comment?
According to CalRecycle, the bill could result in minor and absorbable costs. However, we would note that it would create an unfunded fiscal pressure by authorizing CalRecycle to adopt a different standards than those already established by the ASTM.
All righty. Members, if there's no discussion, Senator Liu.
Thank you. Senator Sonia, as you know, I had some policy questions about this bill last year, but as a fiscal matter, I think it's fine, so I'm going to move the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Liu. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Alquist? Emerson? Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Pavley? Price? Runner? Runner, no. Steinberg?
And that is 2-1, and we'll hold the roll open. Senator DeSaulnier, finally, prison-made goods, SB 608.
That's correct, Madam Chair. In a nutshell, this bill came through a program that Senator Hancock and I, since she's in the audience, was supportive of in the East Bay. It allowed a nonprofit. First, they tried to use volunteers, and the sponsor will speak to this briefly, to put packets together using ARA funds for low-income, disadvantaged youth. We couldn't do it enough, put these backpacks together for these kids in an efficient way, so we thought of the idea of using the prison industry authority to do it. They granted us a waiver, but in order for us to continue to do this good work in the future, we need the statute that would allow for it. There is no new state costs in your analysis, potential future cost savings. I know that there are some folks who have engaged me in the whole discussion of using the PIA for things like this and opening it up too much to nonprofits. We're going to continue to have discussions with those folks, and I would respectfully ask for your aye vote today.
Thank you, Senator. And your witnesses, please, go right ahead.
Sure. My name is Benito Delgado Olson. I'm the executive director and co-founder of Cato College. Our partnership with PIA has been crucial in our ability to scale this program throughout the Bay Area and by 2015 throughout the state. We don't receive any state funds for this, and I'd encourage your support of the bill. It's crucial for us to continue to serve students. We served 170,000 kids in 24 California school districts last year. That being said, we have pilot operations as far south as LA and Inglewood, and as far north as Siskiyou County. So I'd encourage your support so we can continue to scale this program throughout the state. Thanks.
Madam Chair, members, my name is Charles Patillo. I'm the Executive Officer of the Prison Industry Board and General Manager of PIA, and we support this bill. It is general fund savings. It's identical language that was vetoed by the governor 2 years ago. There was a trailer bill approved by both houses. This would also allow us to reopen our eyeglass factory at San Diego and re-engage the 500,000 people that no longer get eyeglasses when Medi-Cal was cut to them. And now they've gone to nonprofits as their last hope and resort.
See what I mean? All right. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony to this bill? Ms. Ingenito, any comments?
To the extent that this measure would result in increased business activity within the PIA, there could be increased need for inmate work assignments within the state prison system. Studies have shown that active inmate participation in programming and/or work assignments can reduce recidivism and create a safer prison system for both the staff and the inmates. As such, an increase in inmate work assignments could generate long-term savings to the state, and the Department of Finance is neutral on this measure.
Thank you very much. Members, if there's no comments, take a motion.
Move the bill.
Senator Liu moves the bill. We'll call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Alquist? Emerson? Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Pavley? Price? Runner? Runner, no. Steinberg?
The vote, Senator DeSaulnier, is 2-1, and we'll keep the roll open.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator Hancock, I saw you come in on SB 695.
Thank you very much.
Whenever you're ready, Senator.
I'm ready, Madam Chair.
Okay.
SB 695 is substantially similar to a bill that was heard in this committee with bipartisan support last year. I would hope for the same this year. It is not intended to cost the state money, and I look forward to working with the chair and the committee consultant to address some of the issues that were raised about the cost of developing the regulation change that would be required. But this bill would allow the use of county dollars as a match for federal Medicaid funds to draw down federal funds to provide medical and mental health services to young people temporarily placed in county juvenile detention facilities awaiting adjudication. Alameda County alone can draw down almost $2 million of federal dollars annually. Counties who participate in the program will agree to pay the state's administrative costs and the Medi-Cal match. The funds would only be available for young people who are Medi-Cal eligible. The measure is consistent with federal law and would significantly assist California counties in providing comprehensive medical and mental health care. I have with me to testify Casey Kaneko with Alameda County.
All righty, we'll go to your witnesses, please.
Thank you, Senator. Members of the committee, Casey Kaneko of Souter and Associates on behalf of Alameda County, which is the sponsor of the bill, also on behalf of San Francisco City and County, which is supporting the bill. This bill will do great good for young people who otherwise would not have access to mental health or medical care if their counties have access to federal funds when they are in juvenile hall. Because any county which chooses to take advantage of the bill, should it be implemented, will have the opportunity to do so. We urge your support for this very important piece of legislation, which will not cost the state of California a single dime. Counties will pick up the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Juliana Vorse with the Urban Counties Caucus in support. This would potentially save counties money in the long term, so we urge your support for the bill.
Thank you.
Leslie McFadden, Madam Chair and members, on behalf of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors, in support for all the reasons stated. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Cindy Hillary, Regional Council of Rural Counties, in support.
Betsy Armstrong with the County Health Executives Association, in strong support.
Michael Radigan on behalf of the Board of Supervisors, Santa Clara County, here in support.
Excellent. All righty. Thank you for your comments. Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
The Department of Health Care Services indicates that it would require one position and approximately $100,000 a year to seek the federal approvals and to operate the program.
You can relieve Sharon.
Senator Hancock, let me see. There are some costs here that are a concern to us. We realize the bulk of the bill is very good fiscally, but we want to take a little extra time with it in suspense, so it will go there unless there's additional comments, and there aren't. And then we'll take it up when we look at the suspense file.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hancock. And Senator De Leon. Senator De Leon has one item. The other one we have dispensed with, Senator De Leon. So today SB 116, the single sales factor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Senator Runner, Senator Liu. Thank you for the opportunity to present SB 116. This bill seeks to save California taxpayers over $1 billion per year through the implementation of a mandatory single sales factor. In California's adoption of the single sales factor method of apportionment in 2009, instead of adopting a mandatory single sales factor like the vast majority of the other states throughout the nation, including Texas, New York, Michigan, Illinois, as well as Oregon and Washington State, and just recently, Madam Chair, just last week, in fact, the state of New Jersey, our tax law has an annual elective single sales factor, not a mandatory. The LAO's office reports that getting rid of the option, the annual single sales factor, and adopting a mandatory single sales factor would result in a net gain of 40,000 jobs. So therefore, there's $1 billion of revenue into the general fund coffers, as well as 40,000 new jobs, especially with today's unemployment rate. With that, Madam Chair, I would say that first and foremost, we need to put California first. We need to encourage, job creation and greater investment in our home state instead of rewarding out-of-state corporations. SB 116 is supported by a wide array of labor as well as business organizations, including the Greater Los Angeles African American Chamber of Commerce and many California-based companies, including Qualcomm, Apple, Genentech, the members of Bay Bio, Biocom, and the California Healthcare Institute. Madam Chair, as well as members, I respectfully ask. for now.
Thank you, Senator De Leon. We'll go to your witnesses.
Mike Robeson for Qualcomm, and Qualcomm agrees with Senator De Leon that this bill does place California companies first, and what it does is the bill actually removes the incentive to locate elsewhere. So we view this as a positive bill. Qualcomm as a home-based company, 10,000 employees in San Diego, supports it.
Thank you. Next,
Thank you. Melissa Cortez Roth on behalf of Bay Bio, Northern California's Life Science and Biotechnology Association. We represent California-based companies. We believe this bill will encourage growth in California, and we urge your support.
Thank you. Any other witnesses in favor of SB 116? In favor? Come on up, please.
And Madam Chair, I think because of the craziness, if you will, of all the policy committee schedules, we have supporters, and I'm sure as well as those in opposition sort of scattered throughout the building right now.
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Mitch Seaman, California Labor Federation, in support.
Alrighty. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Come on up, please, on SB 116. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Bernie Orozco on behalf of the California Cable and Telecommunications Association. We can appreciate the interest and effort trying to encourage folks to invest in California and bring jobs to California. The problem with SB 116 is how it deals with the cost performance. Any type of facilities-based business, like the cable industry, has to have heavy investment in jobs and in infrastructure. So we have always continued to invest in California and hire people. Even when the times when people were laying off individuals and cutting back, we continue to grow. In our business, it's so competitive between our customers are competing with, or we're competing with AT&T, Verizon, Frontier, SureWest, Dish Satellite TV. A lot of these folks don't have the level of commitment that we have as far as customers. So to paint industries in one broad brush as outsiders, the marauders at the gate coming in, not wanting to invest, is not an accurate statement as it relates to the Cable Association. So I would think that the number or the
if I may, the elective sales factor is only a couple years old, so you were doing, the industry was doing all right prior to the enactment of the elective sales factor?
Right. We would
and
never.
then also in the, I'll ask you both of them, and then you can briefly answer. And then also in the analysis, it points out that 18 other states are moving in this direction. So how are they responding to the cable industry in those states?
To be honest with you, Madam Chair, I have not looked at the other states.
Okay.
I've only focused on California. So I apologize for that. My focus only being here, as I hear trying to encourage more investment, I'm almost tempted to say, and I'm trying not to say, that I'd be happy to compare our number of employees and investments with those who support, the mandatory single sales factor. I'm a little lost why they would come up and push it when it's elective, and those who would like to elect to do it can do it today under current law. So just forcing everyone to go into a mandatory single sales factor, ignoring that facilities-based companies, although we may be based in Philadelphia or St. Louis, we pretty much act like a California-based company. We have over 33,000 employees. We pay over $811 million in taxes. Our contributions to the community are $200 million a year. So if that's not an investment, I'm just not sure what more we can do to make folks happy here in California.
All righty. Thank you. Any other testimony opposed? Finance, you have a comment?
The Franchise Tax Board estimates that the revenue impact of this measure would be $1.3 billion in 2011-12, $1.1 billion in 2012-13, and $1.1 billion in 13-14. Finance notes that this bill would achieve the same outcome as the governor's budget proposal contained in the budget trailer bills SB 79 and AB 103.
Thank you. Senator De Leon, since a couple of issues came up, do you want to do a very brief close?
With regards to Mr. Bernie Orozco's assertion with regards to cost of performance versus market sourcing intangible goods, that is aspect of SB 116, separate and apart from the issue with regards to elective or mandatory single sales factor. I will say this, that I know there are some companies that are quite unique in this case with a larger footprint in the state of California, who actually do reside outside of the state of California. In this case, he made reference to one company, which I think is Comcast, headquartered in the state of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, to be specific. We are having current negotiations and conversations with a few of those companies who do fit the profile of a large footprint in California, that being brick and mortar as well as employees. So there is some uniqueness to his argument. As with regards to the adjective of marauders, I'm not quite sure if I've ever, I don't know if he's still here, if he's disappeared. There he is right there. I don't know if I've ever used that to apply to Comcast or any of the cable companies, but we're working diligently with them, and we will continue to work with them, Madam Chair, to hopefully find some sort of resolution.
Members, this is a due pass. I need a motion on the bill.
I would be glad to do that.
Thank you, Senator Pavley. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Alquist? Emerson? Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Pavley? Aye. Pavley, aye. Price? Runner?
No.
Runner, no. Steinberg?
All righty. That is 3-1, Senator De Leon. We're holding all the items open today because the members are in other committees.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Pavley, would you care to take up your item? We're pretty much down to members and waiving presentations. And then Senator Emerson, if no other members come in, we could go to you and then to me. Senator Price needs an item. Bill? Senator Pavley, whenever you're ready, we will take up SB 449, Local Agency Review for the Controller.
Thank you, Chair Kehoe. This is, as you well know, it's part of the bipartisan package of 5 bills.
Yes.
Sponsored by the Controller's Office. And without going into the direct substance of the bill, should I just narrow it on the fiscal implications?
Yes, because there are, it is headed to suspense, so you might want to address the costs.
That's right. The purpose of this bill is to assist local governments before they get in trouble to get their financial house in order, and it also creates, as part of a process, a fiscal review team, including people from the Controller's Office, the State Treasurer's Office, and the Department of Finance. This is a voluntary effort done with the coordination of the local government levels. It operates the same way as FICMAT, those of you familiar with that, on the school level, but there are some differences as well. Regarding the fiscal rebuttal or issues related to Senate Bill 449, I wanted to point out the authority provided to the controller is discretionary. So no preliminary reviews or audits are mandated by this legislation. So very few cities may, in fact, take this opportunity to include the controller in a fiscal audit. So it's discretionary. The committee analysis, I thought, was accurate in that the Fiscal Review Committee activities and reports required are minor and absorbable. Catching local fiscal problems early is in the direct best interest of all the taxpayers of California and the state itself. With me today, I have Dave O'Toole, Policy Director for the State Controller, John Chung, to answer any technical questions.
Anything in addition to answering questions?
Just to reiterate the appreciation for staff's analysis that the costs are absorbable and minor, with the exception of the other elements of the bill are discretionary. Thank you.
All right. And the controller supports the bill.
Sponsor the bill. Thank you.
He is the sponsor of the bill, and I think he's a big supporter of it.
Yes, good. Members, okay, do we have any other testimony in favor? Testimony in favor of SB 449. Is there opposition to SB 449? Ms. Ingenito, do you have a comment on 449?
The State Controller's Office has indicated that it would require approximately $500,000 from the general fund annually, including 2 auditor positions and associate expenses of $250,000, and a financial advisor contract services for another of $250,000. Sorry, that was how I got to $500,000. We were not able to obtain fiscal data from the state treasurer's office at the time of this analysis, and depending on the extent of the financial reviews, the Department of Finance would incur additional costs as well.
If I may respond to that, just to clarify, the costs that we provided to the Department of Finance were based on if the activities were required, but as we've discussed a couple times, they are discretionary.
Just one moment. Sorry. Let's see. Senator Runner, I think, has a question on this item. Okay? Yes. And Senator Liu does as well. We'll go to Senator Liu. Senator Runner first.
Okay. Thank you. I did have a question because you did say they are minor and absorbable cost, and Department of Finance disagrees.
Sure. The minor and absorbable costs are the cost of convening the committee. That is the required activity of the bill. The remainder of preliminary audits are all discretionary, or if the local agencies request them, then they would pay for them.
Thank you.
Senator Liu.
Yes. The Controller's Office has launched an audit of the city of Montebello. So just as a factual matter, I thought the Controller already could do this. But can you just clarify what this means, that we're giving him authority to audit these agencies? I thought he could do that already.
The City of Montebello audit was conducted on 2 bases of faults within their reports. The reports that they file, annual reports, cities who file annual reports, there were information in their annual reports that's inconsistent with information that's been given to us. And also we were invited in by a member of the City Council and by the city manager.
So there's no invitation that you're...
Yes. And this has a few other trigger provisions.
Okay. With that, I move the bill.
Thank you, Senator Liu. We appreciate that, but we're going to ask you to do that on the day when we deal with the suspense calendar. So, is there any other comments on this item, members? We heard the testimony, so it is identified for suspense. It will go there, and then we'll work on it during the interim, not going into the suspense calendar.
Correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now, Senator Emerson, are you ready to take up SB 743? Or do you have your... All right, as soon as your staff brings your... Let me do mine. Senator Runner, will you... Or I'm just going to do my second item. And then Senator Emerson, and whoever else we have that needs to do a bill. Thank you for hanging in there. Members, thank you, Madam Chair, and members, this is SB 855. It extends the sunset on the State Racetrack Leasing Commission from January of 2013 for 5 years to January 2018. I want to take amendments at the bottom of the analysis that will change the sunset in the bill to the 2018 year. Okay. The commission is unique to racetrack operations, only pertains to Del Mar Fairgrounds located in my district. The fair and the racetrack are overseen by the 22nd Ag District. The commission consists of 6 members, the Secretary of Food and Ag, a Director of Finance, Director of General Services, and 3 individuals who are members of the Ag Board appointed by the governor. It's a simple housekeeping measure to make sure that the Racetrack Leasing Commission continues to exercise its role for oversight and accuracy. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition?
Hello.
Department of Finance?
The Department of Finance is neutral on this measure. The state owns...
I'm trying to keep you in a job.
The state owns the Del Mar Fairgrounds and Racetrack and is responsible for $50 million in bonds currently issued for capital construction. This bill would extend the sunset date to ensure that the state can, to ensure that the entity can continue to manage the payment of the capital construction bonds.
Okay, thank you.
I'd be glad to move the bill.
Thank you. The bill has been moved. Secretary, call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Alquist? Emerson? Emerson, aye. Liu?
Aye.
Lou, aye. Pavley?
Aye.
Pavley, aye. Price? Runner?
Aye.
Runner, aye. Steinberg?
The bill has been passed 5-0, and we leave the roll open. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Runner.
Senator.
Thank you, Senator Runner. Now we'll go to Senator Emerson. This is SB 743. Whenever you're ready, Senator Emerson.
I am ready. Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Senator Ed Hernandez and I are co-authoring this legislation. Senate Bill 743 is designed to help maintain Medi-Cal payments for essential services rendered during a delay in the passage of a state budget. Specifically, the bill increases the amount that the controller is authorized to transfer to the medical provider's interim payment fund to cover these claims. This fund was established in 1998 through a Senate bill that authorized zero interest temporary loans to cover a 60 days worth of provider payments. Unfortunately, the fund now covers less than 2 weeks of provider claims. As we all are aware, the average budget delay is far longer than that. In order to pay for critical services from hospitals, nursing facilities, homes for the developmentally disabled, clinics, and many other providers, the loan authority for this fund needs to be restored to its original purchasing power. And I have two individuals to testify in support.
Thank you, Senator Emerson. We'll go to your witnesses.
Madam Chair, members, Dave Helmsen on behalf of the California Association of Health Facilities. And obviously these are challenging financial times, but the costs that are reflected here for this bill are comprised of interest that the state would lose had they paid the bills. And I have to say that's an interesting approach. We could probably solve a lot of things if we just didn't pay our bills and collected interest. But we think that that's probably not the best reason not to pay for services that are rendered in good faith by the provider community. There's a process over at the controllers that allows him to prioritize and manage his cash flow, and that process has been working. Problem with this is that there were accounting changes made and some other things that have rendered this particular fund rather useless in terms of meeting its intended need, which was to bridge the gap. Not stated in the analysis, but what I hear often is that we don't want to do this because it'll relieve the pressure on getting a budget done. And I would only leave the committee with the thought that if we had any pressure to render on the budget, we wouldn't be waiting until October. I mean, we believe this is a good bill. It completes what was intended with the original policy, and we would appreciate your aye vote on it.
Alrighty, thank you. Go ahead.
Madam Chair and members, Barbara Glazer with the California Hospital Association. This is of particular importance to our smaller hospitals, which are finding it more and more difficult to borrow money that they need to borrow in order to pay the bills which they need to pay on time. And originally when this fund was created, it was intended to last about 2 months, and now it's 2 weeks. So it is truly a hardship on a number of hospitals when there is a delay in the budget.
All righty, thank you. Additional testimony in favor of the bill. Is there opposition? Finance? All righty, members,
Senator Keel,
Senator Runner.
could I move the bill because of the urgency we really have right now?
Senator Runner, I'm very sympathetic. It actually doesn't have an urgency item, but you might want to make an argument about the fiscal importance. There are significant costs with this, Senator Runner, and I feel we definitely need time to look at it in suspense. This has been attempted numerous other times, not been successful, so we could actually use our time to try to figure out how to make the bill a stronger vehicle. But in any case, I support moving it to suspense. Alrighty, any other discussion? Then it'll go to suspense, Senator Emerson, and I'm happy to continue working with you. Thank you. Alrighty, yes, we have, and Senator Price is still out of the room, right? Yes. We have 3 final wave presentations, and then hopefully Senator Price will be back. Then we'll go to the top of the file and fill in for the members that have been out of the room. Well, Sergeant, could you let the other committee members know that we just have a couple of items left, and then we'll open the roll for the on-call items. we're going to go to SB 537 by Senator Correa, the California Cadet Corps. Are there members of the public that want to speak in favor of SB 537, the California Cadet Corps? Is there opposition to SB 537? Does the Finance Department have a comment?
We don't believe the measure has a fiscal impact on the state.
All righty. We have it tagged for suspense, so we will work with it in the meantime. Senator Calderon has an item on sentencing, SB 576. Is there testimony in favor of SB 576? Is there opposition testimony? Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
The Judicial Council has indicated to us that there would be no costs related to the bill because it would simply continue current practice, and we are neutral on the measure.
All righty. Nevertheless, it's going to suspense. Then I have a bill, SB 585, on solar energy systems. Solar energy systems. Is there testimony in favor of SB 585? Is there opposition to SB 585? Mr. Chin, come on up.
Madam Chair, pleased to see you again. Randy Chin with Southern California Edison. Respectfully, we oppose this bill unless it's amended. Our concern is the rate increase that would result from the passage of the bill. If the bill were slimmed down to use just the interest that has accrued in the account, as the committee analysis points out, that would remove our opposition.
All righty. Let's talk about it while it's on suspense.
Thank you.
I'm not saying yes, but we can talk about it. All right. That's SB 585 by Kehoe on solar energy. It goes to suspense. And I think that concludes what we've already worked on, except for Senator Price, who is here now to take up SB 460 on international trade. And then, Senator Price, can you stay and we'll go through the file one time, try to get rid of as many on-call items as possible?
Yes, I'm.
Well, right after you're
chairing
finished.
BNP downstairs now, so they're waiting for me also.
I understand. Okay. Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members. Senate Bill 460 would make the Business, Transportation, and Housing Agency the primary state agency to coordinate, engage in, and provide support for international trade, marketing, and promotional activities here in the state. It would require BTH to convene a statewide business partnership for international trade, marketing, and promotion by March the 1st, 2012, that focuses exclusively on California's ports, airports, and seaports. The partnership would advise the Secretary on what role the state should play in international trade, marketing, and promotion for these ports. This bill is necessary to protect California's status as a major gateway for products entering and leaving the United States. According to the California Marine and Intermodal Transportation System Advisory Council, more than 40% of the total containerized cargo entering the U.S. arrived at California ports, and almost 30% of the nation's export flowed through the ports in the Golden State. Port activities employ more than 500,000 people in California and generate an estimated $7 billion in state and local taxes annually. Nationwide, more than 2 million jobs are linked to California's public ports. Moreover, small businesses are the economic engines driving the export economy. According to the Public Policy Institute of California, nearly 94% of all exports located in California are small or medium-sized firms, and exporters are more productive and pay higher wages than non-exporters. Although there are many other positive statistics relating to California port activity, there's also a great concern that California lacks a competitive economic strategy to protect and promote this favorable port activity. As you might be aware, the statutory authority for the Technology, Trade, and Commerce Agency and the agency's international trade and development promotion programs were repealed in 2003, and it significantly reduced the government's capacity to assist California firms in developing global business opportunities. Due to a lack of state economic strategy, collaboration is the key to oversight, promotion, and the success of California's international trade program, and the need for SB 460. California's trade and investment policy is a living document that should be regularly updated to reflect emerging business trends, challenges, and the changing needs of California businesses and workers, such as the expansion of the Panama Canal, which poses a threat to the California economy. Panama is currently working on a $5 billion project to widen the Panama Canal by 2014 to accommodate larger cargo ships. Los Angeles and Long Beach port officials have worried that the Panama extension could undermine their position as the nation's leading importers. These fears are well-founded, as the Panama Canal Authority has entered into memorandums of understanding with 20 ports on the Gulf and East Coast that are intended to promote freight passage through the canal to those ports. SB 460 would allow the Secretary of BT&H to coordinate, engage in, and provide support for international marketing and promotional strategies, including convening an advisory group of industry experts and practitioners to examine and suggest solutions to these types of international issues. This is a good government bill sponsored by the Pacific Merchant Shipping Association and supported by the California Chamber of Commerce and a whole list of organizations that I think you have now before you, and I urge an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Price. We'll go to your witnesses, and I just want to say this is a good bill and a very good concept. You know, just because we did away with the foreign trade offices doesn't mean that we don't need a international trade policy, and you're putting it in the right place. So while it's on suspense, and I still want it to go there, let's work and see if we can get the costs down a little bit and still get you where you want to go.
We think we can get those costs down, and I would look forward to working with the Commission.
Good. And then briefly from the witnesses.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mike Jacob with the Pacific Merchant Shipping Association. And we are the sponsors of the bill. And we'd like to speak directly to the issue you just brought up with regard to what we're going to be doing and talking about while this is on suspense, because what we've been doing with Senator Price over the last year and a half is convening essentially a work group which we're trying to formalize into a partnership which will support the Business Transportation Housing Agency in their efforts to put together an alternative for doing trade marketing to what we used to have at Trade and Commerce Agency, and have something that looks more like what we do with Travel and Tourism Commission, where there's individual private parties that come together, they pool their resources, put it together to do California-specific branding and marketing. That's something we don't have in trade. It's something we need to have because of the challenges that the Senator brought up, and we appreciate the opportunity to work with you and your staff.
Very good. Next.
Good afternoon. Thomas Vu with the California Chamber of Commerce and Support. International trade has a large role in California's economy, and we believe it makes sense to have a uniform strategy on trade marketing. The benefits far outweigh the initial costs of the bill, and with that, California Chamber of Commerce and Support. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other testimony in favor? Testimony in favor. Any opposition? Finance, do you have a comment?
The Business Transportation and Housing Agency does not have general fund resources for the support of its existing international trade responsibilities. The workload and costs associated with this measure would be determined through the normal budgeting process, and I don't have an estimate for you at this time.
All righty, thank you. Then, members, if there's no further discussion, this item will go to Senator Liu.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Price, for this bill. We're not going to compete in California making socks. It's going to be in those areas where we have a comparative advantage. Trade is one of them. I believe the elimination of our foreign trade offices was a mistake. I believe the elimination of the California Trade and Commerce Agency in 2004 was a mistake. This is a step forward. I'd like to be added as a co-author.
Thank you.
All righty. If there's no further comments, then the item will go to suspense, and Senator Price will work with you in the meantime. Members, let's go back over all those items that were due pass, and we'll try to take as many votes as possible. We'll still have to hold the roll open for Senator Emerson. Yes, Senator Pavley?
First of all, I'd like to apologize for missing so much of the hearing. I'm sort of in environmental quality with 33 bills and
I understand
in your committee, but I'm here. Anyway, there was just one bill I wanted that's on suspense that I wanted the chair to just consider when it goes there, and I would have brought it up at the time, and that was Senate Bill 175 by Corbett.
Senator Corbett, yes.
I had heard from several solar companies who maybe don't manufacture here, but they assemble here, creating just as many jobs. It's sort of a nuanced definition, you know, because maybe if you manufacture, you're actually buying the parts from somewhere else, but we're talking about job creation. Assembling the parts here is actually just as relevant in creating the intended purpose of bid preferences for those companies who are actually creating jobs here in California.
Good point, Senator Pavley. Senator Corbett did a presentation. There was a witness that said her company alone has about 1,000 jobs in California, so we acknowledge that there's some jobs and fiscal issues here, and we are going to address those while it's on suspense. Should we return to do pass then? Alrighty. I just want to introduce former Senator Steve Peace from San Diego, sitting in the front row. Welcome. Alrighty. We are going back to the top of the file. First item that is a due pass, we've taken a vote. It is SB 622 by Senator Corbett, having to do with sex offenders. The chair is aye, and the vice chair is aye. The vote is 6-0, and please call the absent members.
Emerson? Price?
Aye.
Price, aye. Steinberg?
All right. So, Mr. Emerson is in committee.
He's in B&P.
All right. All righty. Yeah. Well, the vote count is 7-0, but we'll still hold it open one more time. Next is Senator 116. SB. Oh, Senator Emerson, can you sit with us for a minute? All righty. Then let's back up. I need your vote on SB 622, sex offenders, by Corbett. The chair is aye. The vice chair is aye. The vote is 7-0. Call the absent members.
Emerson? Emerson, aye. Steinberg?
8-0. That bill is out, and the roll is closed. Next is SB 116 on the single sales factor. The vote is 3-1. Chair is aye. Vice chair has not yet voted. Please call the absent members.
Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Emerson?
Not voting.
Price? Aye. Price, aye. Steinberg?
Five two. That bill is out. Next is Senator DeSaulnier, SB 536, property tax for public utility. The vote is 3-0. The chair is aye. The vice chair has not yet voted.
Walters? Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Emerson?
This is the Oakley power plant.
Emerson, aye. Pavley? Aye. Pavley, aye. Price? Aye. Price, aye. Steinberg?
Steinberg will, we're not, let's see.
Okay.
All right, so we have, what is it?
7-0.
That's with, who not voting?
That's
Walters?
Steinberg, currently.
Okay, the vote is 7-0. We'll close the roll then. Okay. Next by Senator DeSaulnier is plastic products recycling, SB 567. The vote is 2-1. The chair voted aye. The vice chair has not yet voted. Call the absent members.
Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Pavley? Pavley, aye. Price? Aye. Price, aye. Steinberg? I'm sorry. Emerson? No. Emerson, no. 5-3.
The vote is 5-3. The bill is out. We'll close the roll. Next is SB 608, DeSaulnier, prison-made goods. The vote is 2-1. The chair's voted aye. The vice chair has not yet voted.
Walters?
Call the absent members. Excuse me.
Walters?
No.
Walters, no. Alquist? Aye. Alquist, aye. Emerson? No. Emerson, no. Pavley? Aye. Pavley, aye. Price? Price, aye. Steinberg?
5-3. That bill is out. Next is Senator Evans, SB 299. The vote is 3-3. The chair is aye. The vice chair is no. Please call the absent members.
Pavley? Aye. Pavley, aye. Price? Price, aye. Steinberg?
5-3, that bill is out. Next is Evans, SB 369, Dungeness Crab. The vote is 3-3. Chair is aye, Vice Chair is no. Call the absent members.
Pavley? Pavley, aye. Price? Price, aye. Steinberg?
5-3, that bill is out. Let's see, Racetrack Leasing Commission, overcrowding. What are we doing here? What do you got? Senator Tedlow? Where is Senator? Oh, okay. Oh, we did. That's right. We changed a maybe for suspense to a due pass. This is SB 336 on emergency room crowding. The vote is 3-0. The chair is an aye. The vice chair has not yet voted. Please call the absent members. This is 336 by Senator Ted Lieu. Please call the absent members.
Walters? Aye. Walters, aye. Alquist? Aye. Alquist, aye. Emerson? Aye. Emerson, aye. Pavley? Aye. Pavley, aye. Price? Aye. Price, aye. Steinberg?
Good one. 8-0. That bill is out. Close the roll. Let's see. Next is Kehoe, SB 855. This is on this Racetrack Leasing Commission. The vote is 5-0. The chair is aye. The vice chair has not yet voted. It's been amended. What do we do? Yeah, due pass is amended. 5-year sunset. Oh, 5-year sunset. Right. Call the absent members.
Walters? Aye. Walters, aye. Alquist? Aye. Alquist, aye. Price?
Thank you, Elaine.
Price, aye. Steinberg?
All righty, 8-0, that bill is out. Last due pass is Senator Negrete McLeod, SB 609 on public employment. The vote is 3-3. The chair is aye. The vice chair is no. Call the absent members, please.
Pavley? Aye. Pavley, aye. Price? Aye. Price, aye. Steinberg?
5-3, that bill is out, members. Unless there's been some error, I think we're finished with the file, right? Thanks, everybody, for your cooperation, especially on such a busy day. Thank you to staff. We're adjourned.